Hey everybody, my name is Randy Asenchak. I'm the editor of ElderGeek.com. This is not an episode of Elder Speak, but I guess we're just kind of temporarily calling this George, Matt, and Randy. And I don't even know where everybody's going to be on my screen right now. But
go
ahead and go around and say your hellos, everybody, starting with George, just for alphabetical sake.
Hi everyone, my name is George Weidman. I do a channel called Super Bunny Hop where I do reviews as well as like kind of wordy editorial opinion type pieces. Sometimes about tech issues, sometimes about like industry issues, sometimes about economic issues, sometimes about culture issues. Just basically an interesting topic that has or has not affected my my gaming life some way that week. You can check it out on youtube.com/bunnyhopshow. I try to be kind of weirdly legit and wordy about it, so if you're into that sort of thing, it might be your sort of thing.
All right. I'm Matt Visual. I don't do any of that. I just review games and I make jokes. That's pretty much it. I'm probably the the guy that doesn't, do that long scripts and craziness that these guys do. They're much smarter than me.
I definitely would not say that. By the way, at any point, if you click on anybody's heads, it'll go directly to their channels. But being smarter than us, that is definitely not true, because whenever I think that I'm putting a joke into one of my reviews, I'm like, nobody got my joke. I'm like, I'm not nearly as funny as I think I am.
And what I learned to do is to just stop trying to make jokes. Like, people didn't say my videos were funny until after I stopped making a conscious effort, which probably says more about how bad my sense of humor is than how good my writing is.
Oh, I've realized that. You realize that I laugh at you sometimes when we're having some nachos or whatever.
And I won't
and
laugh
you're like,
at
what?
me.
I
like how you said nachos, because every time I talk about us hanging out in person, it's always within the context of nachos. We should get nachos, now that I think about it. It's been a while since we've had nachos.
Yeah, well, jalapeno.
I think we should stop the recording right now, and then everybody just go get nachos and come right back.
Yeah.
It'll be like the most noisiest, most disgusting podcast ever, because there'll be like cheese everywhere.
The most delicious podcast ever.
Nachos and coffee. Nothing goes better. Two great tastes that taste great together.
In GMR.
I really want to know what is your process for reviewing games, because I've recently been doing this every week, and I kind of see where, it depends on the length of the game as well. Like, for instance, I wanted to play The Legend of Korra that just came out 2 days ago, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna steamroll this. It happened to be only 6 hours, so it was fine. But I can't do that for a bigger game. Like, for instance, I'm going through all the Dragon Age games before Dragon Age Inquisition.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dragon Age Origins, that took me 110 hours before I finished it. And that was like years ago. That was like 2009. And even then, when I finished it, I was like, wow, I could have learned a new language. I could have made a lot of money in 110 hours. I could have, I don't know, like, time is money and time is human life. I am 110 hours closer to death, having spent it playing a silly video game with really weird voice acting and sex politics.
And you know what? I don't remember anything about Dragon Age Origins at all.
Really?
I remember
the Grey Warden. That was in Dragon Age.
I kind of remember a lot. What's wrong with you guys? I started playing today. I
remember Morrigan.
I do remember Morrigan.
Of course you do. Everyone remembers Morrigan.
I remember
she's the girl that's basically wearing nothing, right?
Yeah, I remember Morrigan.
Wasn't Alistair just Karth from Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, he was like a not necessarily stoic, like a wisecracking pretty boy who still had kind of a stoic stance to him.
I think it was even the same voice actor.
Hair.
Was it?
I think so.
Yeah, they were very similar characters.
Somebody will chime into the comments right now. They'll be like, dumbass, it was not Alistair and Karth. Or they will be like, Randy was right.
I just remember, like, Dragon Age Origins was around the time where I started noticing that a lot of BioWare games are strikingly similar, where they have very similar casts, very similar arcs, and very similar designs. And one recurring character is kind of an Alistair Kaiden Karth type, who
Dragon Age Origins was kind of like Mass Effect
pretty white guy
2.
who cracks jokes.
Like Mass Effect 2. If you like the suicide mission type thing going on, that's exactly what Dragon Age Origins was. Where you
I would know Dragon Age 2 though, because of video game reviews. I have decided to not purchase that game.
Oh, I mean, I said Mass Effect 2, didn't I?
Oh, I thought you said Dragon Age 2. I'm sorry.
No, Dragon
Mass
Age
Effect
2. We
was
don't
great,
speak about
though.
Dragon Age 2 here. You know what I'm saying? Both of you guys haven't played it, right?
I have not played Dragon Age 2. I played Dragon Age 1, and this is like, you know, the snob in me, but as soon as I saw trailers for Dragon Age 2, two things crossed my mind. One, it is way too soon. Like, way too soon. And two, I was like, how did they go for something super serious looking to something super cartoony looking? Nope, not interested.
Well, like Dragon Age Origins still had a bit of stylistic proportions to some of its areas, but it still it was a very, very different style.
Yeah.
And it also looked actually pretty good for its time, if I remember right. At least some areas did. Like, I remember there was a forest in the beginning where there's that wonderful castle siege where you fight your first big troll and you have to aggro your party members around in circles. And I remember those stone walls looking really good. And then I remember going into the witch's forest afterwards, and it looked like I was in a 2005 game. Did you guys play Dark Souls 2?
Did I play Dark Souls 2? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the woods in that game? It's always with woods.
Yes.
Like forests.
Do you mean
they're
like
such
the
a
Misty?
make or break thing? Yeah, it looked like ass. Like, there are parts in that game that looked great, but then you walk in the woods and all of a sudden it's like going in a time travel machine back to what woods looked like in 2004. The level designers of Dark Souls apparently hadn't learned any lessons in the past 9 years of level design. And meanwhile, you have wonderful looking CryEngine games and like the thing of Ethan Carter.
Oh, yeah,
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. That's
Yeah.
an Unreal Engine 3 game that has an amazing looking forest to it. And forests are it's a make or break thing. They either look like ass or they look great. I haven't seen a lot of mediocre, okay looking forests. They're either one or the other.
Well, I've played Dragon Age Origins, and it was good for the time, I think. Like, the lip sync is off. Like, a lot of things you tend to notice, you know, because this is years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely you can see like the rich, the polygons.
Gaming as a whole has not exactly drastically changed from 2009.
No,
I would argue.
Yeah, especially when you look at Dark Souls 2. And you look like when he's getting up and you see that texture, that ugly, I'll never get it out of my head, that ugly cloth texture. Every time you wake
Dark
up
Souls
at the beginning
2,
of the
though,
game.
had great cloth physics.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
It did.
redeemed.
That's something.
Well, all right. So you've played Wasteland 2, right?
Oh,
I'm
yeah, that
playing
was a lot.
Dragon Age Origins, which is like 50-hour plus, going over near to 100 hours. That's kind of like Wasteland. How long did it take you to beat it? And how long did it take you to write the review and everything? Like, what was the process there?
I started playing a week and 3 days before the review came out, and they sent me the review copy actually a day before launch. But due to my schedule, I kind of wasn't able to play it that day before launch. What?
No, I'm not rolling my eyes at you. I'm rolling my eyes at the fact that like somebody would send you a review copy of a game that's that long the day before it releases.
Well, it's also partially my fault because I'm having a really bad time this season keeping up with release dates, and that was one of them that almost slipped me by, because like I requested it. I think a good 2 days before I got the code for it, if I'm remembering correctly. It might have been 1 day. No, they were fine. They were super easy to work with. And also, have you guys noticed, like, some publishers are way easier to work with than others?
Oh, yeah.
Like, in the realm of AAA gaming, all sorts of weird, skeezy stuff happens. And one company that is famous for that is Ubisoft. They gave a lot of... There was a big controversy a little while ago about them giving journalists tablets during a preview event in Paris. Right now, they were actually inviting YouTubers to a preview event in San Francisco for Far Cry 4. If you scroll around YouTube, you'll see a few of those around. But also, like, out of all the AAA publishers I've worked with, like, they're the ones who actually work with me. Like, they have a reputation with buttering journalists up to a shady degree, and that kind of like carries over in the fact that they actually answer my emails and send me stuff, unlike some others who are Bethesda. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how that works. Like a lot of like mid-tier games like Wasteland, like I guess what you would call single A's, like high profile but still low budget games. I've had no problems whatsoever working with those guys, and it's just weird pockets of the AAA industry that aren't quite as friendly to press in my experience as others.
Huh. See, mine's the exact opposite. I've always had a pretty easy relationship with Bethesda. I think. Maybe because I just had a good.
What did I do?
I don't know. See, I think my experience was different. Like my experience in going them originally was when I did like one of our first charity marathons, and it was just kind of like hey, we're gonna be playing your game. Can we get some copies of your game to give away? I wasn't even asking for review copies at the time.
Yeah.
And I think I just got a good PR rep from like just
that probably makes a difference. You know, associating it with charity. Charity is always good for PR.
We needed a big, long game to play, so we did Fallout New Vegas. And it was something that we needed to play like 80 hours long for a whole weekend.
Oh,
so.
my God.
Wow.
I spent 220 hours on my New Vegas run. That game, I love it. That was my favorite game of last generation. Like, that and Bayonetta are probably the two fondest memories I have of playing games in the last generation.
I gave up on Fallout New Vegas.
Really?
Once
I understand
that.
It's
Glitch,
kind of.
I hit that glitch and I just like, whatever. I'm gonna go back to it
was a glitchy one.
eventually. But
It was a glitchy old bastard.
yeah, it's
I still
games
loved
are
him
always
for it.
glitchy. Like you have to
It's
wait
not a
few.
Bethesda game. It's an Obsidian game.
Yes,
Well-
big difference. Big difference.
Yeah, don't you know?
Yeah, well,
No,
for some reason it carried over. Okay, to Obsidian.
It was they used the Bethesda tech and assets, and
there
Obsidian
you
doesn't
go.
necessarily have a reputation themselves for releasing bug-free stuff. Even Wasteland 2 was not able to escape that. The second half of Wasteland 2, I like it way better than the first. For some reason, it's way buggier than the first. I just have a good tolerance for bugs, I guess.
Yeah, but mine was like, start the game all over. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was that kind of bug, I would've-
Was that on
I
console?
hate that.
Was that on console that you got that bug that like killed you like that, or?
It was on console.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on console.
Yeah.
That killed me like that. Because usually on console games, they have like, it has that feel, like when you buy a console game, you know it's gonna work. You know.
Yeah.
You always have that, that security, like, yeah.
Unless it's Fallout New Vegas.
Unless it's any Bethesda related title.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Bethesda related. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of vitriol in the Fallout fan community. Like, a lot of fans absolutely despise Bethesda, but like love Obsidian. So, despite the close relationship the two companies had when making New Vegas, like they'll get angry if you call it a Bethesda game. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if I necessarily feel strongly towards that position, but I did notice I feel very different about Fallout New Vegas than I do most other Bethesda games. I'll say that much.
We're getting off topic a lot, aren't we?
That's okay. Hey, there was no format to this show whatsoever. This is sort of the nebulous George, Matt, and Randy show.
GMR.
Yeah.
Yeah, the GMR show. Who knows if it'll ever happen
Gurmer.
again?
GMR. That's analogous. Gurmer. We're all Gurmers here. We play Gurms. Yeah.
I thought it was because we
We play
listened to
video
Guns
Gurms.
N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. That's my favorite burn.
I'm laughing because Matt didn't want to laugh at that joke. He was like, "That's the dumbest shit."
I still got you though. I still got you.
Oh my gosh.
This is fun. This is really fun.
All right. When I'm doing my reviews, I tend to write stuff while I'm doing it. I guess just because most of the time my jokes are all happening while I'm playing the game, so I can pretty much do a let's play and it'll probably be easier on me and I'll have the same jokes, but I kind of write
a
down.
Good idea.
Yeah, write down. But people don't want to watch let's plays. People want to watch edited, high quality.
You say that.
Well
but,
put.
The numbers are.
Hey,
they don't
hey,
lie.
we
the
all
kids want
cannot
the Let's
be
Plays
as
these days.
we all can't be lucky like PewDiePie and all those guys who let's plays. Hey.
I still think there's a bit of
Luck?
deliberacy involved. Oh yeah, luck definitely. Luck with with anything. But
It's like
but
back then it was easy.
He knows he knows his audience. He knows how to please them. He knows what he's doing. And you know, and in one weird way, I guess I'm kind of thankful that like the most popular YouTuber of them all is like not Nike or Doritos or something like that. it's like this weird Swedish guy who plays weird indie games, and I mean, granted,
he's pretty humble
them
about it.
Funny for kids without it's not necessarily a thoroughly developed sense of humor, but I think his heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
He plays indie games.
He just has to play to the audience. Yeah, see, and we're all sympathetic for indie games, right?
I'm sympathetic towards indie games, and also Matt and I were having a discussion about this before. I'm sympathetic towards PewDiePie. I don't think he gets paid enough.
Really?
$2 million? Was it $2 million a year?
$4 million, my friend.
$4 million.
That's true.
And it is funny. I've heard a lot of people make that same argument that celebrities who have a similar sized audience will still like blow that number out of the water.
Exactly.
But it's just like such a new industry. I don't know if we should hurry to make standards. What am I saying? I don't know. I'm totally significant. I'm a nobody.
My point is, we need more money.
Yeah,
I just don't know how much money this is worth.
Hold up. How much is worth? I mean, we do a review, regardless of like if it gets a few thousand views. How many of those people have bought the game because of your review? Regardless if you're a small YouTuber and you get like 1,000 views, and if you're a bigger YouTuber and you get 100,000 views, you know, it's different.
I had a.
It's different for each person. It depends on the audience as well. I remember me and you, George, we were talking about somebody at MomoCon, a developer there that was saying that, oh, Game Grumps played our game and PewDiePie played our game. But not many people bought it when PewDiePie played it. But when Game Grumps played it,
the developer
it was a big
in question,
spike.
They got a way bigger spike from a Game Grumps Let's Play than a PewDiePie Let's Play.
And the developers are earning money. This is what I'm saying. Developers are earning a lot more money than we are.
You think audience age has something to do with it? A correlation with disposable income correlates with how big that sales spike is?
I think it's also, like you said, it's also, since it's such a new medium for everybody to kind of dig around in. Like, George, you've worked in. I'm assuming, I actually don't know this, but I'm making an assumption here. You've worked in print journalism before, yeah?
Oh yeah, a little bit.
Okay,
but yes.
But you're probably familiar with like the advertising end on all of that. Like I've worked in print and everything like that, and I've worked for magazines before where like their circulation would be something small, 30,000, but a one-page print ad in that magazine would cost somebody like around $5,000 for that one-page full-color ad, $5,000 and to possibly reach 30,000 people. So, you know, here we are. Each of us has at least 30,000 subscribers, but no way are we seeing anything even close to that. Boy, I'm starting to sound like I'm begging for cash here, but that's actually not the case.
And I guess it's just like such a weird, nebulous economy, like the ad view economy. Like, really, in all honesty, I'd kind of like for media in general, not just YouTubers, to find a way to support themselves without depending on advertisements. Like, I don't know, funding drives. I like, there's all sorts. No matter how you try to fund yourself, you're going to have some ethical concerns come up one way or another. Yeah. But I think actually, right now, this may be subject to change in a few months or weeks even. I right now think that crowdfunding might be a better way to do it than through ad sales, because I don't know, I just kind of see more independence in a content creator who is supported by the fans of the content rather than outsiders who know nothing about the content but still contribute towards it.
So you're saying something like more Patreon than someone saying, "Oh, check out Audible," and here is.
And I guess Patreon might have been for the past year a way out of it. I'm wondering if the YouTube fan funding feature that just dropped might be a way out of it when they seriously get the ball rolling on that. At least right now, it's very, very lightweight. But yeah, I am hoping to see content creators find a way to market to a small audience of, like, 30,000-ish, and still make money doing it that isn't cell phone bill money.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Or, McDonald's dollar menu. You know what I'm saying?
Let's
We've been the mellow mushroom, right? We've had our nachos. So.
Too much. It's also really volatile is the other problem with it. And like you don't really know what's gonna be popular with the viewers sometimes. And I mean, sometimes there are ways to predict it. Like there are a lot of people who are SEO professionals who like really know how to like feverishly swarm thousands of people around a topic online. And I don't think that the skill set required for actually making good quality content is necessarily the same as making viral content. And that's the other problem with supporting yourselves off of ads, is that the inflammatory popular content is going to pay more than the unpopular content, which steers, content towards a certain direction.
I've driven us down a dark path. I'm sorry, Matt. You had a question about a half an hour ago about process.
I don't know what we just rolling now. We just rolling now.
No, but you know what, though, to go back to your point.
It's not a bad roll, though.
No, I don't think it's a bad roll at all. But to go back to your point that you made earlier, George, about Patreon and having fans like fund it, I think that's probably going to be the safer and better way to go, because then you have...
There's still problems, though.
There are still problems, but I mean, this would be in lieu of something like, say, a subscription cost, or... I don't know. That's probably the closest thing I could think to.
But when they can name your own price, let's say you happen to see on your Patreon page a significantly more expensive contribution from a brand or a person with strong opinions, and that's the same exact kind of conflict of interest that comes from trying to support yourself from advertisements. I guess what I feel deep down inside is that maybe there's less evil capitalistic greed going amongst the individuals who support people on an individual basis, rather than the corporate brands that support people as advertisers rather than individuals. But that's really just my good faith.
Boy, that just gave me a really evil idea, but I shouldn't share it in case like some evil company out there actually does that, like actually puts together a shadow team of like 40 people, and they're like, we just donated $2,000 a month into your account. We represent, company X.
Like that scene in Food Fight where company X just decides to sponsor themselves despite the store not wanting them. How did I get to Food Fight? What were we even talking about?
we started at review process, but we went to like all sorts of craziness.
I'm sorry. I need to take a step back because I feel like I'm widening our holes here.
Should I talk about my process? Would you like to hear about my process?
Let's hear it.
If I'm fortunate enough to get a review copy, I pretty much start the game right away. That is if like the previous game is already done being played, because I mean, when you try to do like a review a week, a lot of times you're like, crap, I just got a new game and I'm not even done playing with the last game yet to start doing this one. Play through the game, obviously, and I typically just jot down notes of what I think was done really well in the game, what was done really terribly in the game, and then kind of form my idea from there when I write my review. I have a horrible memory, like a terrible memory. Such a bad memory that when I'm trying to write my reviews, I will forget character names, and so I will
might be a little important.
It is a little important, and
it happens to me.
I'm so
you don't want to call him Dante.
So I, honestly, a lot of times I'll bring up the wiki page, and I don't ever dare.
Those are actually really useful for reviews.
Yeah,
because they're like it's like a nice fair ground where you can, especially if you have an early copy, because then it's not tainted with critical reception towards the end. Then it's just like the public information that's known about the game. Like, here's what they said about previews, here's what's kind of known about the story, so you're not spoiling the story if you didn't mean to or anything along those lines. So sometimes I'll use wiki just to kind of make sure I'm calling characters the right characters and stuff. But aside from that, I just of course use that for my title page too, just like date, release, title, cover, and everything like that. But then hammer out my script. It's generally about 2 pages long, which really is not that long. My scripts are...
What's the word count, though? because the page could mean anything.
It's
I do spaces a lot in mine. I don't know why.
I don't know. I don't know. My timing generally ends up being between like 6 and 10 minutes long, like a video.
Yeah. I think I was.
Oh, go ahead.
I think I was told that like persuasive speaking speed is 600 words per, or was it 300 words per minute? Yeah.
Yeah.
So times 6 to 10 minutes is like a good 1,300, which is what mine usually land at. Like
yeah.
No, in journalism school, like pages mean nothing. It's all about the word count, because they kind of teach you to fill in spaces on newspapers, which I'm sure you know all about too.
I
worked
was
there
an
too.
English major, and yeah, all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Hey, how much do you guys dilly-dally, procrastinate, like, through the review?
Well, too
because
much.
I have a problem with this. Okay, you know, I could be watching.
Yeah, we all
like
do.
there's an anime going on in the background. Sometimes there's like a new video from a favorite YouTuber or whatever.
Comment
I'm like,
sections, you just can't stop
Yeah.
scrolling down.
yeah, it's like, oh,
Can't
I wonder
stop
what they said
scrolling.
to this.
No,
Yeah.
or heaven forbid that your video get like seen somewhere, like on Reddit, or you found it on some forum. You keep hitting that
and-
refresh button to see what somebody said about it.
Because someone might call you fat, and you
Reddit?
gotta know how and why.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like a sickness. I swear that you got to find out what everybody is saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dilly dally a lot. It's great when a company gives you enough time in advance to actually play the game properly and form a nice opinion and have the video like posted and sitting there and just waiting to go live for a day or two before, because then you're just like, it's done. That never kind of happens though. Like that maybe has happened twice since I started doing this.
It used to happen a lot more back in the day. Like over the past year, I guess I kind of settled into routine where I am now used to cramping things out at the last minute, which I really wish I wasn't. Because I do my best work when I have like a day to proofread it,
Yeah.
and a day to edit it. Like
And you
definitely,
fix it up
like,
a little bit, you know, iron out some
the
things.
more time that goes into something, the better it ends out. Almost 100% of all cases.
Yeah, the more times I get to edit it, the more times I will catch words that I repeat. I hate.
And that is why time is money.
Hate that. That is my number one pet
like-
peeve. Like looking back at my old videos, I'm like, oh, I just said that same word 2 times in 2 sentences. I want to go and delete that video now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and sometimes I have when I see some stupid factual error I made. I'm like, oh god, this has to change now. And then like 300 commenters are like, well, where'd the video go? Why is the same one up again?
Why'd you post it
and I'll
twice?
put like a thing in the disclaimer saying what I corrected, but it still like kills me every time I have to do that.
You did that recently, didn't you? What did you do that for?
Probably. Let me scroll through some of my recent ones. I think Shovel Knight and System Shock. I had to put those up again and again
System
each morning
Shock.
when they came out. Yeah, System Shock had actually
what it
not a
was.
lot of writing errors, but a lot of video errors in it. And I kept I like re-uploaded 4 different versions of that video before the one that I actually wanted up was up, and like the fans were just so confused. It like killed me inside seeing that happen. Because it takes so much time to render and upload that you
Yeah.
kind of have to commit to it every time you do it.
Yeah.
That if you have a sane person schedule, you're not going to notice the error until after it's live.
Right. What's the worst error you've ever gone live with and kept? I could tell you mine.
No, not that I kept, but the worst that I did go live with was when I did a video about a certain character we all know and either love or hate by the name of Phil Fish. And I had made a horribly embarrassing error that I had to own up to and correct as soon as someone pointed it out, where I cited a piece of parody news as actual news.
Oh no!
It totally fooled me. Like, the satire flew right over my head.
Oh.
I was a big dumb idiot for thinking it was true. But it was just also like with a character like that, I mean, almost anything could happen sometimes.
Yeah.
And oh god, I just that answers your question. That
does.
was the
It
worst
certainly does.
that I did fix. As far as I know, I don't know of any ones that are still around. I mean, I try to keep everything generally factually clean. If there's anything anyone agrees with, then it's hopefully something subjective and opinion based.
Matt, what about you, Matt?
Oh, man. When it comes down to reviews, I know I've slurred some words, and every time I do that I don't realize it.
I do that.
It drives me nuts. Especially it's a video that I really put a lot of time into, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is a good video, and then I hear the slur. I'm like, no, Matt, no, no, this is a perfect video. Why did you? And I don't realize it because I'm on crunch time, and I rewatch it like at least twice, just to make sure. I totally miss it. But yeah.
And by then you've already deleted all the footage from your hard drive, and you can't even re-record your own audio and repost.
I used to have recurring issues with pronouncing comparison, and my whole life I've said comparison.
Oh.
Until YouTube. Like YouTube beat me out of that habit. One thing I still have trouble with is nuclear. Nuclear. Is it nuclear? Say it again.
Nuclear.
Nuclear?
Yeah, you can say it like new and clear. Just put the two words together.
I still have a feeling if I'm saying it natural in conversation and not thinking about it, I'm going to say nuclear. I can't say why I mispronounce some words. I just do.
Yeah.
But
trust me, I get you. I sometimes like, man, am I stupid? Am I like? Don't you ever ask your question? Like, am I just stupid? Should I even be on the internet? Like, I should probably just quit.
Should there be some sort of test I should be taking before I'm allowed to post these videos?
It's like, and then I listen to another YouTuber and I'm like, well, those guys accept him for his speech. Then probably they should be okay with me. I think a lot of people like someone who's human. And they make mistakes. Probably nothing with facts.
I don't know if they like people that make mistakes. I think they love it when they find the mistakes, because then they're like, whole rest of this video is bullshit adorable. Because of this guy. This one mistake.
Because you mispronounced comparison.
There's a couple of videos. I don't want to call them. Maybe I should, just for the sake of being fair. But my most recent mistake that I kept was in my Destiny video review. I called the speeder bikes in it. I called it a swallow and not a sparrow. And well, he's but here's the thing. At the time, a swallow, yeah, because they're both small birds. They have the same letter count. They both begin with a P and S. They both end with an OW. They both have a double consonant in the middle. And at the time, I was doing a ton of footage and writing for a Witcher video series that we're doing. And swallow is like, it's named after a bird that he uses in like one of the potions, and I just wrote swallow, and I just spoke swallow. And I posted it, and like, this one guy was like, did you even play the game? I'm not, he probably doesn't sound like that. But no, so one of my commenters said, did you even play the game? I'm like, yes, I played the game.
I play, yeah, you've played a lot of the game in a very short amount of time, which is an interesting problem.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? When you buy the game or when you get a review copy, right? It's like, how much do I rush? Because, you lose a lot of views, right?
Every day
you lose a lot of views if you rush it. If you do a bad job, you lose views.
Mm-hmm. True.
And good jobs require time, so bad jobs are rush jobs.
Yeah. And it's... Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Which is why I'm trying to break my habit. Like, I'm getting in the habit of... proofreading and editing night before, which is horrible. I used to be in the habit of having a day for proofreading, and then a day for editing, and then a day for polishing. But I don't know, the past like 6 months, for some reason, maybe it's just because I got used to, I'm more confident maybe in getting videos out on time. Like subconsciously I'm like, I could always play one more round of Counter-Strike, and I end up procrastinating.
For me, it's League of Legends. I don't know why. It's just like, just one more round, whatever. It's 40 minutes. 40 minutes of time you could have been spent. It's just...
Time is money.
Yeah.
Time is views.
Yeah, you can't have a life and do this at the same time.
That's the shame. Like every day that you're late, you're exponentially losing viewers, unless you've got like a really awesome install base of fans who just will watch everything you put out.
Or if the video is like some inflammatory ad bait, clickbait topic,
right?
Boobs in the thumbnail,
right.
Vsauce used to do that, just girls all over in the thumbnails, and now he doesn't have to do that anymore. Yeah, he doesn't do it anymore, but now. That's how he got big.
He doesn't have to, or did he maybe decide not to? Maybe decide to grow out
he chose
of some bad
not
habits?
to because he already had an install base.
Yeah.
And what you say, like Angry Joe puts out his reviews late, and it doesn't matter. It gets like
well, you can kind of see why. They're like 20 to 40 minutes long.
And he buys costumes and he puts together
Yeah.
skits. I mean, there's like
There's
a
a lot of
major
stuff.
production involved in Joe's stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have the time or patience to do that.
Yeah, I do like a mini version of that, and
But
that takes
if,
a bit because you gotta put on clothes, you know. You gotta
You
fix
actually
your
have to
hair.
put pants on.
Yeah, you gotta put pants on. I'm not wearing pants any right now. There's nothing under here. It's just a shirt.
It's like Anchorman.
Really?
I was like, why put on pants today?
We're getting friendly here tonight.
Yeah, well, yeah, we are. I mean, we talked about nachos. It's only right to move
the
on to the
GMR
pants talk.
Germer podcast is starting to become about undergarments.
Wow. That was that was pretty good. I like that one.
Amazing.
Pretty good.
I hope my mom isn't watching.
It's gonna be the one video she like watches. She was like, that video was like an hour long, and I watched it. It was inappropriate.
Very
was
disappointed.
She thought my Twitter got hacked one time when I said "God damn it."
Oh, that's
She
sweet.
was like, "You wouldn't do that."
It's
I was
funny how
like,
moms
"Oh,
think about
well."
hacks easily because like it's all over the news now. Like hacking. Oh, people's cell phones are being hacked and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Gotta watch out for that.
Matt, what about you? Like when you write your stuff, man, because you got some funny stuff in there. Like, do you
Oh,
test your
better
jokes on
funny
your
than
family before
the
you go
rest
live
of
with it?
us.
I would not be confident in
No,
jokes.
when I'm playing stuff, I naturally just be like, oh, look at this, blah, blah. Like I'm already doing it in my head because I make fun of stuff. It's something I usually I did a lot in high school. I guess that's where it kind of came up from, where it's like, oh, I could make a couple jokes and make people laugh, and I was a little raw in high school, but
We all were, my
yeah,
friend.
yeah, we all were raw. But
We were raw.
I just write stuff down and
unripened.
I put it in a review eventually when I'm writing down the full like outline of everything, and whatever some jokes I'm like, I wonder if this is gonna be funny. You know, it's just like, ooh, a little bit of kitchen jokes in there. Nah, I can't put that in there. You know, can't put. Or you guys don't understand what I'm saying? Oh, I see the blank look on your
Kitchen
faces.
jokes? Oh, kitchen,
We got you.
No.
We
not
got you.
really,
We're trying to
no, I
let
was
you
joking.
skate beyond.
That was totally a joke.
Tell
there's
us
some
more,
jokes
Matt.
I'm like, oh, this could be too corny. I'm not trying to be funny. I just thought this was funny. Is this gonna look like I'm trying hard? Because I mean, obviously,
gotta be
when you're a
careful
comedian,
about that.
you obviously try to be funny.
Right.
But
I don't know how they do it because I'm terrible at that.
Yeah, because if you try too hard, then you look like you're like a angry video game nerd wannabe kind of kid. You know, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that that YouTube is like plagued with those YouTubers. You know, where they're just
right,
I-
they are. It's amazing. I was looking. I was looking at submissions for a forum, a video game reviewer forum, and I sent it to George. Remember that? I was like, oh
Yeah,
my
I remember
gosh,
that.
I am just a needle in a haystack. I'm a drop of water in a desert. Like, there's so many reviewers out there.
Yeah.
And they all do the same combo of having a camera and then have the video footage with, you know, some points and stuff like that and a little bit of jokes here and there. I mean, obviously, you know, maybe
You kind of got to get creative with it.
yeah, like I don't know where my value. Sometimes you kind of figure out like where is your value, like, you know. And I guess that all depends on your fans, and if they keep watching every week, they obviously enjoy what you do. So you know, you just kind of like, oh, okay, you know, because you're doing it for yourself anyway. I'm doing it for me because I love seeing this whole collection. You know, I used to collect a lot of Pokemon cards, a lot of things back in the days, and I still have that collection feeling, you know, still tingling inside. And I like to look at my my channel. I'm like, oh, look at all those games I reviewed. I actually have like a little time capsule of, you know, what I thought about the game. I can always go back to it and actually feel the feelings, because every time you look back on an old video, you're kind of like, what was I going through to actually make that joke, or, you know, say that about this, you know, like, why did I dislike this so much? You know, there's some people back in the days where they never played Final Fantasy VII, right? Back in the days when, you know, they were a child and whatever they were going through. Then some people, like, they go back to it now. People who haven't played 7, they're like, oh, this game was overhyped and blah, blah. But see, you weren't playing it while it was there. You know,
weren't
like,
playing it within the context of the time period.
Yeah. It's different for people like that. It's probably some people's first RPG. You know, like, there's sentimental value to that. There's nostalgia. There's a lot of things.
Your firsts, though. Your firsts are.
Your firsts are special.
They always get an undeserved amount of praise from you, even if it's a great game that deserves a lot of praise to begin with. Because it's your first.
Yeah.
You have no frame of reference. You have no standards to compare it to. If it's already good, it's going to look like the best thing of its respective genre or whatever you in the future qualify it against.
And it reminds me, around that time, the demo disc. I was watching a video.
Oh, I miss those.
Randy.
I really miss demos.
Yeah, I was listening to the music, and you had it playing, the SquareSoft demo disc, and I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, this is around the time where I kind of got... I would sit down and invest hundreds of hours into a game, you know?
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy was one of those games that really got me to sit down and actually just pay attention to a game for this long and read all the storytelling and everything like that. And I enjoyed books. So, like, this was just like, oh, more reading? Sure, whatever, you know? Like, you know, sometimes you see plot holes or whatever. It's fine. But still, it's, you know, this nostalgia feeling back then, you know, when you first started actually investing so much time into it.
Those demo discs, I have 2 of them, and I posted them online like a long time ago. One of them got flagged and I had to pull it, but I still have those demo discs. You know, I think I played more time on Super Puzzle Fighter on that demo disc than I did when I actually bought the game. Like, when I bought the game, I was like, oh, this is great, but you know what? I played the hell out of it on the demo. I'm good.
I have the demo level of Hitman 2 Silent Assassin like memorized, and that's such a great game to make a demo out of, because every level in it is like a sandbox with a bunch of replayability in and of itself. And oh my gosh, like, why did that concept have to go away? It was like too honest of a form of advertising to be viable in this industry.
Right.
Like, you cannot make a more honest advertisement for a game than publicly distribute a demo of that game, and for that we have all suffered.
Yeah.
For that
well,
honesty,
Origin is kind of making up for it a little bit, in that you
With
can
their
return a
refund
game.
policy?
Yeah.
I've never really felt compelled to use it though.
Yeah. Me neither. Me neither.
Have you, Matt?
No. I've had so much trouble with Dead Space 3 when I was playing that with a friend. Watch Dogs. We don't even want to go there. Okay, because they had like 2 DRMs.
That uses Uplay.
Oh no, that was Uplay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Is
Wait, there was another one. I'm getting
I
confused
got
with
a
another
review
game I played on
copy
Origin.
They're
all the same.
Was it Titanfall? They're all the same.
They're all the same.
Was
Why?
it Titanfall? Was
all
it
the same level of
Battlefield?
schlock.
Those are
Yeah.
Titanfall or Battlefield. Those are the only 2 games people have Origin installed for. Oh, unless it's the Old Republic. If you're one of
Battlefield.
those guys.
Battlefield was
Battlefield?
one of them too. Yeah, Battlefield was one of them too. Yeah. Yeah. When I got it for free on the Humble Bundle.
Humble Bundle.
Yeah.
Humble Bundle.
Yeah, I had some problems and issues. Uplay, I don't even
Uplay
use that
works
for anything.
half the time.
Yeah.
Uplay, more like you don't play.
Oh.
I will say this about Uplay.
More like
I think it's neat that Uplay's achievements actually goes towards rewards going back to the player. Like, that I think is kind of cool.
Oh god. But aren't those achievements just like garbage DLC costumes, just like throwaway stuff to begin
most
with? Most
DLC really is that anyway.
and really, like, that just goes back to the whole concept of why can't it just be an unlockable instead of a achievement DLC redemption. That's like a very basic gameplay feature, is the unlockable, a new costume unlocked through in-game achievements.
Yeah.
Or paying for it through...
I completed Soul Calibur when I was a kid. I unlocked extra costumes by performing in-game feats. I didn't have to go out of the game to do it. It just was right there on the menu. A little pop-up would be like, you did a thingy, and I'd be like, yay, and that would... It was simple.
Yeah.
It was a simpler time.
It's because
and you had to make sure you had that memory card with you if you're going to go play with a friend and you wanted all those costumes.
It was actually a really complicated time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in that it was simpler.
You don't have to worry about a lot of
complicated.
things you did then.
Yeah.
No. I think generally things are the best they've ever been right now in terms of like accessibility and cost. Definitely, the games are way less of an expensive hobby to keep up now than they used to be. And yeah, like the convenience of the internet and online features. Like I no longer have to have a strategy guide next to my Ocarina of Time in order to figure out the water temple anymore. I can just game fax it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to look in your Brady guide to find out what the combination of the lock is in the Shinra Mansion in Final Fantasy VII. You just do a quick Google search. In fact, I'd be surprised if Google doesn't have that answer automatically programmed into Google for you.
Yeah, probably. And you know, like there's a healthy sense of competition. There's a thriving indie scene and a hopefully decaying AAA scene. But you know, it has its good years and it has its bad years. I think 2013 and 14 are going to be some kind of lull, but I'm always optimistic for the future. 2012 was an okay year. 2011 was a great year for AAAs, actually, now that I think about it.
You know what I really want to talk about, but this is completely off topic from everything?
Let's do it.
I want to pick PT as my game of the year. Is that like,
really?
Is that allowed?
Is that a faux pas?
That's what I want to know. Am I allowed to do that?
It might be riding the line, my friend. You might want to look up the Game Police on Twitter. Ask him. your friendly local gaming law enforcement officer will fill you in on all the finer details of whether or not it counts.
I haven't done a video review for it, and I'm kind of like, do I need to do a video review for it? It's free, you know.
It's a teaser.
It's a teaser, exactly. There's really no need for it. Like, if you want to try it, just go download it.
You would be teasing a teaser. I guess the appropriate thing to do in that case would just be to tweet about it a bunch, because that way you're not really wasting anyone's time about it. You're not really spoiling it, but you're still giving the recommendation to your fans.
Yeah, which I've already done. I've taken screenshots, and I'm like, yay, go!
Yeah. All right, so now I'm gonna go buy a PS4, and
buy
if it's not
PT.
good, I'm gonna be very mad on Twitter.
I could
no, it's
no.
Decent.
I thought, I don't know, I watched it and I thought it was pretty fantastic. I'm actually excited to play the game, and I'm not really a horror fan-ish. You know, I watched a lot of movies when I was young, and I played recently Alien Isolation, which I thought was fantastic.
It was.
You know, I respect it, like, just on a crazy level. Like,
you really liked it?
I really liked it. And I don't like the horror genre.
Because, you know, disclaimer, I actually haven't seen reviews about it because I know I want to buy it, and that's because it has like a Metacritic above, I don't know, 7.7, I think, right now, which is like my bare minimum for red flags, which is kind of why I think review scores are a little bit
sometimes
useful,
mandatory or sometimes necessary,
or just practical, because I am a weirdo who cares a lot about spoiling things. Like, I consider reading reviews to spoil some essence of the experience that I would get otherwise without, and in that case, a number is kind of a useful metric.
This coming from three guys who don't use numbers.
I know. I would never use one myself, but I do exploit them.
I have like a poll at the end of my review, and every single time something stupid happens, and I was like, no, there's no review score here. It's just like every time. I used to think that I was going to put, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna make it totally nonsense.
Use it for a joke.
Yeah. I'm just gonna use it for nonsense, because like it's something for me. Like, I would enjoy a game, and then I'll give it a score. I guess everything is about opinions, but I don't know, like me giving it a score, like saying, oh, okay, this sucks. This sucks. But someone else might enjoy it. Like, I enjoyed Sacred 2, and that was like trashed on. I enjoyed hours and hours of Sacred 2.
Was that Risen? That was Risen 2. Never mind. I'm thinking of the wrong weird foreign RPGs.
I've enjoyed two Worlds. Like those are those are trashy games. But I got it for a bargain bin.
Fun.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up like something that a lot of people don't seem to understand, that it's okay to enjoy games that are, for the most part,
objectively bad.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
And that means your opinion is objectively wrong. I don't know.
There was a game, Jagged Alliance. One of the Jagged Alliance games came out. I played it. I think I gave
really
it a Don't
like
Bother.
the second one, but the rest of the series has more mixed receptions.
Yeah, but it was one that was like critically panned. Even I said don't bother with it, but I really enjoyed playing it. Like there was still a part of me that was like, you know what, this is really really kind of fun, but totally not worth spending money on. And so, you know, I think there's that mentality that some people have a hard time getting over, of that if the game does not get a perfect score, then therefore it's not worth their time to actually play it. But there's plenty of fun games out there that are flawed.
Have you ever reviewed a game that you didn't like at the time of review, but came to really really enjoy later on? Matt knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll think on my answer.
Let's talk about Dive Kick. After we
I did not
played
like
it,
Dive Kick
Yeah.
until I played it with Matt.
Hmm.
And that like made a huge difference. And on one hand, like I remember in the review I said I tried to play it with people who I thought would provide a nice fun challenge, and I guess like it didn't work. Like there's so much of a weird, unpredictable social element involved in liking that game that I still kind of stand by what I said about it. But it's just like once you do find the right person to play it with, then all of a sudden that changes your experience. But that's not necessarily fair, though.
Yeah,
Like, the
it's
game
not
should
because
still be
not a lot
fun
of people
without
have
that.
friends. People
Yeah.
say that like in the comments, like I don't have friends to play this with. I'm not buying.
I
it.
don't have friends.
Yeah. You know, and so I was like, well, I mean, I could just give you my opinion. It's just like this weird thing with reviews. It's like, do you tell them that you enjoyed it even though it may not be worth your money? Like, it's just this weird thing. Like, oh, but should I buy it? And then they buy it, and then they might complain to you. It's like, what do I do here?
It's funny, I'll actually say that in a game that I won't give a glowing review to. I'll be like, you know what, I enjoyed my time spending with this, but it's still not I'm not giving it a glowing recommendation, and people are still like, why did you hate this game? Ah!
That happens. And then I guess that's kind of because most games that we end up playing and being interested in are mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
Like only a scant few of games can really be excellent,
Mm-hmm.
because then our standards of excellent would just default to mediocre if that was the case, I guess. But anyways, therefore, like, it just seems like a rule of probability. Like, I was really interested in Valiant Hearts. I thought it was kind of mediocre, but kind of interesting. The main flaw I had with it was that I think it was kind of an edutainment thing aimed for children. So I wasn't really able to, like, thoroughly enjoy it, but I still like the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the ideas it presented. I like the fact that it exists, but I still can't really recommend it to my audience. And like, in the case of Dive Kick, like, how patronizing does it sound to say... You can only enjoy this game if you have a friend to play it with. And then, like, even further narrowing that down to, like, a friend who gets really energetic and trash-talky about it. Because, like, once that happened, I did not see the appeal of Dive Kick until I played it with Matt, and that says something about Dive Kick, and that says something about what may be a really limited appeal to it.
Yeah. And I guess that's why the online numbers aren't so good, right, George?
It says something about how I feel about Dive Kick. It says something about the game itself outside of my own opinion of it, maybe. But it just wasn't built for the way that 99% of people are going to play it 99% of the time, I guess. I wish I could...
like,
could
local
have
co-op
more
is probably the
actual
best
numbers.
thing. Yeah. Probably the best thing. And a lot of games, like I remember Rayman. Rayman
depends.
doesn't have anything online. It's all local for multiplayer, which I think is ridiculous. But I could understand the design of what they're going for. You know,
I think that's probably. I bet that's because of latency issues. You know, like that's a pretty twitchy platformer kind of game at times. Like on the very hard levels.
Oh yeah, with the
Should
running.
Rayman use GGPO?
The running would be insane.
Yeah,
I mean, you have problems with the person right next to you when it comes out to that.
Or even just by yourself. Some of those running missions are pretty tough.
Yeah.
I'm really worried. I'm getting a Wii U on Black Friday. I've decided to take the hit. But I'm really worried about having to use Wi-Fi with it because I don't trust Wi-Fi. I swear by a hardwired connection.
Oh.
But apparently you have to buy the adapter separate because Wi-Fi is standard now. People have I guess forfeited the security, the stability, and the speed of a hardwired connection for something that requires as much precision and as little latency as gaming. That just seems mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, if I knew I was gonna be playing a Wii U online a lot, I would definitely be buying the adapter day one as well. I'm
gonna have to buy a lot of shit with it.
Yeah.
I have to buy a Pro controller, a GameCube adapter, a LAN adapter. I think that's it. Oh no, component cables, because I have 2 different TVs I want to use it on, and one of them is component only.
Oh, does it do HDMI?
It comes with HDMI, but not with component, and that's another thing that's kind of phasing out that I feel like people might be putting too much faith in.
HDMI?
And
or
HDMI?
HDMI. Yeah, because it makes your audio a couple steps of more hassle to hook up if you don't want it to go through the TV.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I have a ridiculously complex system for my stuff. So.
And I'd like it if we didn't have to have as ridiculously like for most of my years I've had a Xbox hooked up to computer speakers. All it is just one little simple Y-shaped adapter. You just plug a stereo out from the Xbox into the stereo in on the speakers, and that's it.
It's I mean
Turns
now
RCA into
there's an
stereo.
optical cable in the back, that you could split.
I've never
with.
had to use those optical cables though.
They're really good. They're really good for connecting to your speakers or your headset or whatever whatever you're using.
There's always that weird optical out hole on the back of every console.
Has a
I
little
own, and
glow.
I'm like, what is that for? Yeah, it's like the fanciest hole of them all, but I've never used that hole.
And even when you get the optical cables, everything else is so rigid, and the optical cable's like a loose piece of spaghetti, and you're like, am I gonna break
I don't even
this?
know what an
Yeah.
optical cable
Oh,
is. It's
really?
alien tech to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I still
Well,
have mine,
completely
even though I
ignorant
guess
of how-
I guess Sony doesn't block HDCP encoding anymore, but
And that's another thing that weirds me out about HDMI is that apparently you can hard code copyright protection onto the cable.
I didn't know. I don't know anything about that. I split mine and
I think a lot of Let's Players had trouble with the PlayStation 3 trying to use HDMI capture devices with it because of HDCP.
copyright thingy.
Some copyright protection that had to do with the type of cable used. So a lot of component or HDMI converting to component devices were popular for a while until this gen, when several weeks after launch, if I remember correctly, they decided to turn HDCP off on the PS4.
Yeah, I
don't
still
think
have
they
mine
ever-
split just in case.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. You have to buy another box for it too, and it degrades the quality of your image.
Depends on the box you buy. I did have a box that did degrade my image before, and I stopped using it. But the one that I got was pretty inexpensive, like $40, and it doesn't degrade it at all. Yeah.
$40 isn't bad, I guess.
No.
But with how healthy the game economy is these days, that's probably a really stupid thing to say too, because there's a lot of criticism about how unhealthy it may not be. For this precise reason, $40 can buy 4 games
Or
when it's on
more.
sale.
If it's
Well,
Christmas time.
4-year-old
Steam
AAA games during Steam
Exactly.
sales.
Yeah.
My older brother, who does not buy and play new games when they come out, he and I grew up together.
Me neither.
We played a lot, but during the holiday season, I don't buy games for myself. I just
No.
buy a ton of them for him, and I'm like, here you go.
Get them next year when they're on sale.
Yeah. Yeah,
They'll still look good.
And they
graphics are aging or progressing really, really slowly these days.
Super
Last year's
slowly.
games look pretty darn good.
Yeah, last year's games of 5 years ago still look really, really good, depending on the game.
Yeah.
Let's see. 2014 minus 5. That's
2009.
2009.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I remember Bad Company 2. That probably still looks good. I think that's a
God of War
2009er.
came out around there.
Yeah.
Was Mirror's Edge 2008 or 2009?
Oh.
Would that have been God of War 3 or God of War Ascension in 2009?
No.
But
When did Heavy Rain come out? Heavy Rain has some damn good looking faces for the year it was made.
2010, 2011?
Well, that's close to 2009.
Yeah, honestly, last generation stuff was not that bad looking.
Yeah. God of War
it
3
makes-
was 2010.
It makes you wonder really how much of an incremental step forward there is. Like, I remember expressing a lot of concerns over this during the PS4 reveal, and I still think they're valid, that I don't know, there's just like less room to get creative with graphics tech these days. Like I mean, really the biggest leap forward with this new generation in a lot of ways might be them having an abundance of RAM this time, 8 gigabytes, as opposed to skimping it with 640 megabytes, which allows for like bigger levels, and yay, that's something PC games
and prettier shadows.
Quite used to.
Yeah.
I'm a little salty about that a little bit. It's kind of like, oh, we have to wait for the consoles until we, we have to wait for those companies that only develop for PC gamers, and that's rare, because you can't.
I think
there's a lot of people who don't
Crytek
only buy.
was the last of them,
yeah.
And they turned coat and ran out of money.
Yeah,
they did. They did
hard.
That is a sad story when you look at that too.
They made bad decisions, starting with whoever was in charge of the second half of Crysis 1.
Yeah, and then all of Crysis 2 and 3. But
it is amazing how much better the first half of that game is compared to the second half.
I will still go in and play that just because of that sandboxy fun. What crazy thing am I going to do now with my superpowers thing? And
PC Gamer read an editorial about how great it was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing that. Yeah.
People remember it. People still play it. The first half of Crysis 1 is like a seminal first-person shooter event, and the second half of Crysis 1 is like a bog-standard follow the butt of a soldier man dude in front of you, absolutely trite cinematic corridor piece of trash. And I hate saying it. It's so hard to say it because I have so many fond memories during that first half.
You know what's funny?
It just kind of kills me to say it.
We could go down the do you remember when? But I remember when that game came out, there were so many people that were comparing Call of Duty 4 with that game and being like, Call of Duty 4 is so much better. And then there were other people on the other side of the fence that were like, yeah, Call of Duty 4 is still a great game.
To be fair, one of them has the legacy that the other doesn't.
True.
One of them clearly won that battle.
Yep.
And it wasn't Crysis.
No.
I remember Crysis for something totally different. Of my PC couldn't run it, and every time I would try to run it,
that's what a lot of people remember about Crysis.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Crysis, oh man, it looks so beautiful. I can't run it at all. Like all sorts of graphical glitches would happen when I tried to run that thing, and now it's like going back to it. I still sometimes download the demo just to play it. Like, yeah, I could.
That was another game that had a great demo. Was Crysis? Yeah, it was that whole first level.
A very sandboxy. The sandboxier the demo, the better the demo. And as people found out, there were marketing studies that were done that proved that the more sandboxy and therefore the better the demo, the less sales it would make because customers would get their fill from just the demo.
Oh, jeez. I actually didn't know that, but that's depressing to find out.
With Hitman, I remember, I think even after buying and playing through the game, I think I spent more hours playing through the level in the demo compared to the original game. And with Unreal Tournament 2004, it had a demo on that Onslaught Torland map. Yep. Do you guys remember that? That demo had a lot more playtime than the actual retail version did.
Wow.
That's a big problem with demos and why we don't have them anymore.
That's sad.
I remember trying a recent game like Destiny, and like the beta was.
We have betas now instead of demos.
Yeah. 4 hours? 4 hours? 3 hours? It was short. Like you got to level, I think it was 7, 8, somewhere around there. Very quickly.
To be fair, that would have been a really generous demo.
Yeah, but it was demo. I guess, yeah.
The thing about a demo is that it kind of has to be a vertical slice. If it's going to adequately demonstrate the game, it is going to kind of pack in the features, the moments, the dynamics of a 14-hour experience into just like one level or one chunk of level, which Crysis did fairly well. Like in Crysis, you don't really gain a lot of extra new abilities as you go along. You just come across new little playgrounds of guards to toy around with. And in the Crysis demo, when you have like a good set of 6 little packets of guards to toy around with across a really big kind of blob designed sandbox map that has enough endless possibilities to exhaust what might be the same or slightly less, just not enough extra content to really sate customers over to the full game.
There you go.
There you have it. Should we?
Because games are systems.
Are we? That was that pause.
Because I was about to start.
That was that pause. Yeah, like oh, we should probably catch it right now before we go on for another 2 hours.
We can convert it. We could. We might be able to turn this around. If you liked our yammering,
Yammer.
I feel like we could yammer for hours more.
The Germer Yermer curse.
The what was the show called again? The Germer show?
The GMR.
Mm-hmm. The GMR. If you like the show, let us know. George, what games did you review recently?
Walking Dead Season 2, which you did too, right?
I did, yep. We came to a different conclusion. I enjoyed it.
Did you like it? Oh, you must have terrible taste and objectively wrong opinion. Yeah, no, I just it's
next time we'll argue. We'll argue next time. But so you did Walking Dead Season 2. You also did Wolfenstein?
Wolfenstein, yeah, and I liked that one kind of. That was like a lukewarm review. Whereas Walking Dead was more of a room temperature review.
Yeah. What and just today people have been watching your video where you were totally nitpicking about frame rates. God.
Oh yeah, I became a frame rate snob after buying an expensive monitor. No, I really hope I don't become a frame rate snob. Ignorance is bliss, my friends.
Yeah, you're gonna be talking about FPS, just like Total Biscuit talks about FOV sliders.
FOV. I don't want to be a FOPS FOV snob.
That's gonna be you.
But
the people are gonna be using your video as a footnote in their arguments online from like.
Is this where it all goes downhill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the beginning of the end for you, my friend. Yeah. But so, what's on the horizon? Do you know what you're gonna be reviewing in the next couple of weeks?
Indie games. I got a couple interesting review copies. I'm eager to try out Door Kickers, which I was provided with. And yeah, as a fan of the old Rainbow Six games, I'm really excited to see what kind of spin they gave on it.
Awesome.
There's also a Japanese shmup that just came out called Revolver 360. I played the demo for it a few months ago when I did my feature on Japanese indie games, and the full English version recently came out on Playism. It's about to come out on Steam in just a few days. I don't remember if that release date is the 24th or the 26th, but that means it's either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Day after the day after tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm looking forward actually to going back to cool short keyword indie games. It's actually a lot easier on a reviewer to do to not do the long AAA RPG epics. You'll probably get a more nuanced opinion on a shorter game than you will a longer game on launch day. Like a lot of great reviews for longer games tend to come out after launch. There's reasons behind that.
There's also like a certain you get kind of a good feeling when you review a game, whether you give it a good rating or a bad rating for like an indie game, because at least somebody else out there who might enjoy the game is going to find out about it, you know, and there's something kind of rewarding about that. You just get a chance to know it better. Like I usually have a policy of playing through games twice, but obviously there's some I can't do that with. I did it with the only times I haven't done it so far are with Wasteland 2 and the other big long one, Watch Dogs. Yeah, that was a big long one.
Ooh, why would you want to play through that twice?
I enjoyed Watch Dogs.
No way.
If I did, there would simply be no way for me to before the deadline. Like you're looking at like Watch Dogs, like a 40-hour game. Wasteland 2, a 70-hour game. That is a work week or more, people.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and that's just playing the game.
And I'm doing it on top of a work week.
Yeah, that's not writing the script or putting the video together or rendering time. That's just playing the game. But just to give you my quick 2 cents as to why I enjoyed Watch Dogs, I was happy to see Ubisoft finally implementing a difficulty slider in their open world games. I think giving it a hardcore difficulty made it worthwhile. And I really enjoyed the open world stealth in that game. Might not have been the best story.
I'll give you the stealth. I really liked sneaking.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of games work a lot stronger. A lot of like these mixed genre stealth action shooters work a lot stronger when you're sneaking, and once you start shooting people, it all goes downhill.
Exactly. Just
Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs had way better stealth than it had gunplay, I felt.
Yep. And Watch Dogs' stealth was pretty much Splinter Cell-y in a slight way.
It was faster. It was faster.
But I enjoyed it.
It was still there.
Yeah.
It was a fun system.
Yeah.
That's where all its cool gimmicks with the hacking really shown.
Yeah, but the difficulty thing, definitely. I'm praying that they do that with like the next Assassin's Creed game, because otherwise I'm just gonna be like. Anyway, we could go on about this forever. Matt, what games have you reviewed recently, and what do you have on your docket?
Shadow of Mordor, Alien Isolation, and recently Legend of Korra. I'm going to do the Dragon Age games before Inquisition and I don't know if I'm going to receive a review copy or anything like that, but I'm going to try to kind of knock out those 2 games out. And then I might try to tackle Lords of the Fallen or Sunset Overdrive. I might.
Nice. Sunset Overdrive looks like it could be really fun.
Yeah.
I'm interested in that one. That looks like it could go disastrously wrong or be cute,
like another
quirky,
Brink
and fun.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, games that try to be cute, quirky, and fun, they can easily fail at that, depending on, I guess, how confidently that comes.
They're
off.
like child actors, where they've either sold it or they've just completely destroyed everything around them.
You know, good, cute, quirky, fun, Dead Rising 1. Bad, cute, quirky, fun, Dead Rising 3. There's a very fine line.
Dead Rising 3. I never got to dive into Dead Rising. I did a few
hours of it. It's just yeah, but let's say Saints Row, like the progression of that series. I think it's kind of ham-handed now at this point.
Yeah.
Where the cute, quirky fun might have been more of a pleasant surprise at Saints Row 2. Now it's just kind of try hard.
It's like a thick layer of slime.
Borderlands. Borderlands is like my go-to example of cute, quirky fun, like failing on its face. And I know that that game has like super duper hardcore fans, and a lot of them, and I don't understand it. I feel like I'm in Bizarro land.
I could go off about like how I think that Telltale Games should not be doing a Borderlands thing.
Yeah.
Like, just no.
I think they should just
maybe we could save that
double down and focus on one project at a time instead of juggling.
I never got the appeal of Borderlands either, I must say.
I'm happy I'm in a room with people who agree, because most times I'm in a very mixed crowd when it comes to Borderlands. Because like I said, they have a lot of fans who really like them. Somehow, I don't know how.
I enjoy Borderlands because it's a co-op experience that I get to play with my brother, and we don't pay attention to the story or anything. It's just the 2 of us running around shooting stuff with guns.
That I enjoyed.
And we don't have to worry about trolls or anything else like that. It's just us and the environment and finding guns. And that's it.
But even then, like, if I even liked it that way, it would feel disingenuous, because I'd be deliberately ignoring a part of it that I wouldn't like otherwise.
Sometimes that's all you need, though. I'm not saying like it's the world's greatest thing, but sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, I ended up playing with my friends and not even touching the story, like, at all. He's like, oh, play story, it's so good. I'm like...
But that's the thing that bugs me about co-op games. Everyone wants to rush through it, and I'm like, no, what if they have something interesting to say? I mean, the last people didn't, but give this one a chance.
I want to read these tour guides in the display shelf in this one shop here. I'm the same way, man. And, like, MMOs, I'm bothered by people that, like, grind to, like, level infinity plus 10, and I'm like, I'm still on level 5 because I'm reading, like, everything the game's throwing at me.
Because you want to get yourself invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And everyone else just wants to rush you through it.
You have anything else coming up, Matt?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Reviews, Dragon Age. Hopefully I can finish it.
Dragon Age.
Hopefully.
That is a big pile of, even if it's just Dragon Age. That's a,
because Dragon Age is going to be a long one.
Yeah,
that could keep you till December if you didn't manage your time.
Well, no, I have to finish it before November 18th, right? Is it 18th?
If we played it like normal people, it might keep us busy till December. But
Right.
but no, we got to make reviews out of it and play through it at 6 times the intended speed.
Yeah, you can't play games
which
for fun.
is kind of another problem.
Yeah, you sometimes have to take yourself out of yourself, being like, okay, I have to not review this in my reviewer pants and pretend like I'm playing this like a normal person would, and not skipping meals so they can keep playing it to get it done in time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Just getting crackers instead of cooking an actual breakfast.
Right. I just did Sherlock, which gave an okay review. I don't even remember what the hell else I just did. I just put one up. Alien Isolation, which I liked, and
The Evil Within.
That soon.
The Evil Within.
Oh, I wish I had gotten that one. Bethesda, come to your senses, man. I would have loved that. But anyways, That game sounds like it's right up my alley.
Evil Within sounds like it's up your alley?
Yeah.
See, Evil Within, I could actually go on a big tangent about Evil Within. I think it's a safe game, it's a fun game, but I don't think it's a great game, and it's definitely not as good as what it could or should be.
But some of really flawed games like New Vegas somehow become my favorite every now and then.
Yeah.
And that seems like it has the right kinks.
This one hit me in all the wrong spots, and I actually didn't go through a lot of this in the review, but like good horror, whether it's a movie or a book or a video game, especially a video game, you have to be lulled into the environment, and you have to believe that environment, that place exists. Most of the time you do. With games like okay, give me for an example like your favorite or scariest horror game. I mean, there's also a big difference between like say survival horror and action horror and like slasher horror, and then there's even comedy horror, and you know.
The scariest game that I think I've ever played that got me the most spooked.
Yeah, I guess.
Because that's like kind of different from just like the most effective or enjoyable horror game ever. I would rate the Resident Evil remake very highly as a very effective horror game that doesn't actually really immerse or scare me that much. Like that old Resident Evil games are like surreal and bizarre from beginning to end.
Yeah.
The pre-rendered background helps that effect out a lot, and so does the really weird, lispy, dreary, uninterested voice acting, and the like weird kind of comic booky attempts it occasionally makes to take itself seriously, and the absolutely stupid storyline that goes on despite otherwise fairly effective horror cliches doing their job well. It's all.
What is scary?
It's not immersive.
About it though. What is scary about it? Is it the tension of low ammo and all that type of stuff? Is the mechanics not the actual like what's going on screen, like no jump scares?
It uses mechanics, controls, camera angles.
I haven't played many.
Very mechanical things to evoke horror. Like a lot of it is just sometimes not knowing what's in front of your character's face because the camera angle will be positioned a certain way. Sometimes elements that are interactable with the background clash out at you in ways you don't expect. When the camera angles are actually, when you're playing with tank controls with fixed camera angles like that, that adds an element of unpredictability to not just every room, but every angle inside of every room. And that's so essential to horror, is not knowing what's around that corner, that those camera angles end up helping out a lot. And I mean, it was such a delicate balance getting it right in old fixed camera angles, because some of them would just be unworkable, and that's why I would rate the remake as the pinnacle of that era of enjoyable but not necessarily immersive and horrifying horror games.
I would still say that you probably immersed yourself into that game more than you thought, because even though
it's not believable though.
It might not be believable, but you are at least put into an environment where you are familiar with everything that's there. Even though it's a gigantic mansion, there's still rooms with a piano and a bookshelf, and there are rooms in that mansion that might look like a home that you've been in, or maybe your own house, or something along those lines. Whereas, like, if you were to take that exact same game and put it into, say, I don't know, some type of medieval fantasy setting, the horror, and here's a perfect example of that. Dark Souls 1 and 2 has plenty of very scary-looking environments and very scary-looking enemies and everything like that, but I would not consider it as a scary experience because it's a fantasy kind of realm.
It also has mechanics that evoke a lot of the same feelings of horror that the Resident Evils do, like the high consequences of screwing up during combat. Like, that's Dark Souls' bread and butter, and that gets... When you're playing through a Souls game for the first time, like, I don't know. I guess I just made a really, like, subjective statement, but Souls games, the first run through a Souls game evokes a lot of the same tension and like, awareness that I feel when playing horror games. Because
I feel that's different.
I think that's more like anticipation and, like, it's not really fear, it's more...
Because probably why we disagree is because me and Randy both played Alien Isolation, and then we try and it's
probably fresher on your mind.
You played well, I played like 2 hours of the Evil Within, and I was like, I don't think this is for me.
But also, if they're like trying to evoke Resident Evil 4 like begins like horror, but it ends up becoming this campy roller coaster ride that doesn't take itself seriously in the slightest towards the end. Like it's never really like truly genuinely scary.
No.
It's it has some very effective shocking imagery in the beginning that hilariously turns into theme park stuff in the middle. And that I like that though. I'm a fan of camp.
Yeah. You might like this because
that's why I think its quirks are gonna appeal to me.
See, even Resident Evil 4, I would actually say they kind of lull you into it because, like you even said, like in the beginning, it is kind of.
It starts a lot more gritty than it ends.
Yeah, and it's also like you're in the woods.
It really
and
does.
You see these little villages, and you kind of identify with that environment. But like with Evil Within, it is like the same level of gore and saws and stuff like from beginning to end. There's no.
I like that contrast though. It makes you feel like you've gone on a long journey. Matt, have you played through Resident Evil 4?
I watched a friend play it years ago.
Yeah.
All the way through it?
Mostly.
Okay. Well, I guess then I'll be vague about how it ends, but it begins with you like very, very slowly wandering into this like deserted, dilapidated, impoverished village with like mold and insects infested in every corner of every house. And then it ends with you like backflipping through lasers in a shiny Matrix hallway before you climb to the top of a like futuristic offshore oil rig cradle thing where a giant spider monster comes rolling out and doing Godzilla shit, and you like shoot it with an infinite ammo rocket launcher and fly away in a jet ski with like a girl under one arm and a rocket launcher under the other. It's just like such a ridiculous contrast from beginning to end that it kind of helps reinforce a feeling of longevity of the whole entire adventure.
I don't think even Evil Within ever gets to that point of ridiculousness either, though. Like it never gets that ridiculous. It's the same level of.
I'm a fan of ridiculousness.
Just gory,
so maybe
gory.
Yeah. Anyway.
But what about that popular screenshot where you see like the big spooky poopy Mario 64 mansion in the background? I see that posted everywhere, and that seems to like evoke campy, lighthearted humor to me.
I don't think I've ever seen that picture. I need to like do some heavy
like
Googling.
Pretty vista from the game where I remember a few people posted it on Twitter where they were like doing image comparisons of some mansion in the distance in Evil Within with the haunted house in Mario 64, and I was like, that sounds great.
Never even noticed it. But anyway, I did that one. I did Alien Isolation, and coming up, I think my next actual video review is going to be either the next Assassin's Creed game or Dragon Age, whichever one of those two comes actually out next. But until then, I'm working on my next 25 games for my son video and working on another video for basically a recap of Witchers 1 and 2. So people, when they go to dive into Witcher 3, which I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be diving right into 3, won't be totally lost going into it. So, yeah, that's what I'm working on.
I need to watch that because I still haven't got around to playing.
I never got around to number 2.
Yeah.
And number 1's one of my favorite RPGs ever.
Number 2 is really different than number 1.
But I just like the time commitment scares me away, which is silly to say because I spent 70 hours playing Wasteland 2, but that was for a review, that was for work.
Right.
So I can't really play Witcher 2 for pleasure because then I won't be able to play for work.
Yeah.
Quote unquote work.
And that's the situation I'm in. So
yeah. Well, there's not a whole lot of overlap in what we're reviewing and what we have reviewed. So go watch everybody's reviews and go subscribe and tell your friends.
Enjoy a multiplicity of opinions.
Yeah. And I think that should do it. Does that do it?
Cool. Yeah, that pretty much does it.
Have a good night, everybody.
From the Gurmer
Podcast.